Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Feel Good Friday. It's the 13th of December. Is that a feel good day, or is that kind of a bad luck day for you? I've been talking about some heavy stuff this week, and the days are getting shorter. It's harder to feel bright and cheery. However, it is coming up on Christmas in 12 days, and it's a time to celebrate. It's a time to think about traditions and things that make us happy. And one of the things that makes me happy is when my tree is up, which is here behind me, and I can see one of them. There we go. It's meant to be a symbol of Christmas, of different. There's a dozen of them, different symbols of Christ, um, but it was turned backwards to explain what it meant. Anyway, so I like to think about traditions at this time of year, and the tradition of putting up the tree is a significantly bothersome one for me. I usually have to do it by myself for various and sundry reasons, and it seems like a great idea until you have to haul the boxes out and then unwrap everything, which was hastily put away, and nothing's ever in the place it should be, and then putting it together. And by the time you're done, it's like, oh, I'm exhausted. But there is nothing like the feeling of being able to sit down with a good cup of coffee on the couch or in the chair and look at your lit tree late at night when it's absolutely glistening and it's beautiful. It reminds me that there is light in this season of darkness, that there's lots of lights on my tree. I put extras on because I want to see the light. Some people might think go sparingly. Some people might go with a spruce tree or some other kind of tree. I've always personally, I don't know what kind this is, but I always preferred a Scotch pine. That's what we had when I was growing up. We always had a live tree or one that was cut down. Now, these days, for the ecology, I prefer not to do that. Um, I have um, I have a fake tree, an artificial tree that in my old age is easier to work with. But at the same time, it's important because it reminds me that this is a temporary thing. This particular season is one that comes and goes fairly quickly. But it's important that we not do damage to our climate and to our environment for such a thing. So if you like to have a real tree, fill your boots. I go with an artificial tree for lots of reasons. Only one of them is because of not wanting to cut down trees, simply to use them for a few short weeks and throw them into the compost. However, one of the things about this season and this time of Advent and this time of preparation is a reminder that we are preparing for that light that will come again, the presence of Jesus Christ in our lives. And putting up my tree, and there's lots of angels on my tree and symbols of Christ. There's all kinds of other things on my tree as well. But they're all reminders to me that of times that have been good, of wonderful memories. There's lots of things up there from my dog, from Dude. And there's a reminder to me that this time of preparation isn't just about anticipation. It isn't just about looking ahead to what might be. It's also about preparation, but preparation for me also means looking back, seeing what I've learned, where have I come from, what things that are part of me and have been part of my life do I need to bring forward with me into the new time. And for me, Christmas is very much a new year. It's the beginning of a reminder for me that I am called to serve Christ in a new way. And from that's lighting the candles or lighting the trees, lighting my Advent candles. All of these things are bringing light into my life and reminding me that that's what I'm supposed to do, bring light into other people's lives. But there are some silly traditions, some things in my history that remind me that in this preparation and in the anticipation, it's not all heavy. It's actually quite beautiful and it's exciting. And there are things that are just funny, or, well, they're funny to me, that are reminders to me of what we're called to do, what we're called to be. When we're following the Christ, if we're following the church year and this season of Advent and preparation, the readings can be pretty heavy. They can be pretty in the church year. They can be pretty heady stuff that talks about John the Baptist and all of these preparing the way and things like that. But it's also a time of remembering what have we done to prepare before. So what kinds of traditions have you had? Have you hung stockings by your fireplace? This one is Dude's. That one that you can see over there is mine. Over there is mine. And then one you can't see is Rob's. It's on the other side. And even though Dude's not here this year, I just feel like I had to have his stuff up. But what kinds of things do you remember from days gone by? What were the important things in your life that helped you build the anticipation for Christmas? When I was really little, before my youngest sister came along, my sister Jennifer and I, when we were living in St. Thomas, so that would be from 1975 to 1980, I think. I was like 4 to 8 years old or thereabouts. Um, when we lived there, every year at Christmas, well, usually sort of 1st of December, we had the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas album. And my mom she still has it, a big stereo system with a big turntable, a 33-inch turntable. And she taught us how to use it. So we would go in and we would put the Alvin and the Chipmunks on the turntable. And we would lay on the floor on our stomachs with our heads propped up like this and our knees bent and our feet flapping in the air behind us. And we would lay side by side and we would sing all these Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas songs. Much to my mother's chagrin, we started way too early, and I don't think we ever stopped. But my mom also had all kinds of other Christmas albums, and I would dig through them and find them. She had Feliz Navidad by, I don't know, the Tijuana Singers or something. It was a brass band. That's all I remember. And a fancy, fancy cover on it that was very Christmassy, and things like Bing Crosby and like White Christmas, things like that. We used to listen to those things, and then usually on December 12th, we would put up the Christmas tree because it's my sister's birthday. I mentioned that yesterday. And in putting up the Christmas tree on that day, I always thought when I was a kid that the 12 days of Christmas were from Jen's birthday through Christmas Eve. That those were the 12 days of Christmas. For those of you who are not aware, the 12 days of Christmas are actually Christmas Day following through to January 5th, and then January 6th is the Feast of the Epiphany when the three kings showed up. And then we have a whole different feast for that. But I always thought those 12 days of Christmas were from Jen's birthday up until Christmas Eve. And so we would set the Christmas tree up on her birthday. I don't know if she liked that or not, but we always seemed to on her birthday. And then when our parents weren't home, or if we were home from school early or they weren't paying attention, we would plug in the lights and we would stand in front of the tree and we would spin around, spin, 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 spin. And then we would lay down on our backs and close our eyes and feel like we were floating or falling. It was We did that until we were teenagers. I'm embarrassed to admit that, but it was great fun, and it was a reminder that Christmas, even as you get older, can be a time of anticipation. For me, after I moved out on my own and I was living, my first place I lived was Stratford. My first parish was Stratford in Mitchell in Ontario. And I was renting a house by myself. And I discovered Christmas movies. Some of them were way back in the day when Blockbuster was still a thing and they had the 7 movies for 7 days for $7. I'd rent movies and find as many Christmas movies as I could find. And then when the Hallmark channel was on, I would watch movies, or I would record them on VHS, and then when I got technically more able on the PVR, things like that, and then I would watch those. And I would just sit and have a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of tea and maybe eat some popcorn or some fresh cookies and watch those wonderful holiday romances and would think about Santa Claus. Now, for those of you who are older, um, Santa Claus is a state of mind, I think. I don't want to say anything in case anybody young is listening, but I still hang on to the magic of Santa Claus. Every year I watch the Hallmark movies and I make up my list of things that I want for Christmas. And most often, even when I was living by myself, they would be things like slippers and a CD of my favorite country music artist and my favorite book. And sometimes Santa Claus would allow me to go and fill my own Christmas list. And then I met Rob, and Rob came along and began to do Santa Claus's job for him. And sometimes he pays attention to the list, and other times he doesn't. But it's always a joy to see that there are things that I actually think about, things that I want that I wouldn't necessarily get for myself. Those magical things that say this is Christmas time. It may not be a lot. It may simply be a book or the opportunity to go and sit and have coffee with somebody as we watch people scurrying around as they get ready for Christmas. But those magical moments that we think about, and I still allow myself to believe in the magic of Santa Claus, the belief that for a little while in our world, wonderful, incredible, beautiful things can happen because we wish. But the thing is about wishing, one thing I've learned, it's like putting up the tree. You can't have the beauty of a Christmas tree without going through the work of preparing it, getting it ready. You can't have the possibility of laying on the floor and kicking your feet and singing to Alvin and the Chipmunks with your sister if you don't take the time to get up and take the lamp off the radio player and move to the side and lift the lid and put the record on it and then hit play, lower the arm, and then lay down. There's always a little bit of preparation. And that's the thing with wishing and Santa Claus, Santa Claus magic, is that the magic can happen. But we might be required to do a little of the work to get the magic to happen. So as you go about your weekend, with not too many shopping days left till Christmas, 11, I believe, as you go about that, your weekend and your shopping or whatever it is you're doing in preparation for Christmas, think about that magic. And think about what kind of magic you would like in your life, because we all need some magic. And if we don't know what we want, we won't recognize it when we get it. But also pay attention to the magic some other people in your life might be looking for, because you might be the one that Santa Claus uses to bring some magic into their lives as well. And I don't know about you, but I could use some magic these days. A little bit anyway. I think probably we all could. So have a great weekend. God bless you. I will see you again on Sunday for Gospel on the Go. And I will see you next Monday for Church at Home with Rachel. I'm glad you're here with me. Happy Advent and merry magic making.